since I came, the first quarter. They owe a lot of people in the regions, but they can't pay. Road fund has not come. That's the major source of income, of funding. So, but you see that we are still doing some work. We won't say that because the funds are not coming. We will find innovative ways of doing work. So that's what we are doing.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the reforms. I know that it's still early days, but what are some of the things that you have introduced or done since your appointment?
So I have undertaken to visit the roads. That's roads inspection. My first activity was to go to the N1 towards the Kasua Road, and that was to ascertain the availability of footbridges. I noticed that most of the accidents in this country are due to two things: driver indiscipline and pedestrian indiscipline. Driver indiscipline in the sense that the drivers don't actually respect the road regulations, they overspeed. Pedestrian indiscipline in the sense that there are people who cross at places that they are not supposed to cross. Some are also fidgeting with their phones and walking. So when an accident occurs, it's not necessarily the fault of the driver. It can also be the fault of the pedestrian.
Right.
Yeah. So I tried to look at the pedestrian crossing. I did that. And then I also looked at road markings. Then I went to the eastern region. On my way to the eastern region, I stopped at the Brim River. And I noticed that the rails, guards, that when the vehicles are crossing, the guards are all off. So cars fall into the river. And we saw one car there. So what I did was to quickly inform the Ghana Highways Authority that they should fix that thing. I have issued what is called compliance notice. Compliance notice is that fix it or I charge you. And so, yes, 2 days ago, I called all the operators, that is the transport operators, to Irata Hotel, because the recent spate of accidents is becoming a national security issue. So I invited them to Irata Hotel and told them that we are not leaving this place until we find solutions to the numerous accidents. One of the solutions is to put in what is called speed governors for intercity transport. So, or you may know it to be speed limiters, but okay, speed governors, so that they can't overspeed. And I've told them that my authority has the power to introduce those things. So we are beginning to work. Changes will come. You will see things happening.
Okay. You know, I want us to get into the Okada issues very soon, because that's why I invited you here. But when you got the appointment as the acting director of the National Road Safety Authority, what came into your mind? Were you surprised? Why there? Because many people have always known you to be associated with law. Why the National Road Safety Authority?
There were others who were not also satisfied with my being appointed there. I had calls. Considering what I did for the party, people were thinking that I'll be given a juicy place. So I received calls that, look, refuse the appointment, protest against the appointment. But I said, look, we must start from somewhere. It's national duty. Particularly, if you look at my trajectory in the NDC, I've always been put at places that never existed or was not in the limelight. Then I turn it around. I'm good at turning around. Nobody heard about NDC had lawyers. You are in the media.
I agree.
It was me.
I agree.
I started the whole thing.
Is that not why people say that you deserved
exactly
a better quote-unquote position?
Exactly.
Do you agree with them?
Yes, to some extent, because they are looking at it from that angle.
Yeah, but what about your angle?
I think that the president knows.
Don't give me a political
answer.
My
capability.
Don't give me that answer, Mr.
Of
Amaliba.
turning around institutions.
Do you believe that you should have gotten another appointment to turn things around at a different place?
No, things have been turned around in all those areas. I was just going to continue. But I think the president thinks and the appointing authorities think that I'm good at that. So let's leave it at that. Let's see how I will perform here. And let's see whether in the near future the appointed authorities will change their mind. So let's start from here. It's a good start.
If the president, because President Mahama is very known to like to reshuffle a lot, if he decides to, where would you like to go?
Oh, that is not within my purview.
But I know you have areas of interest.
To be honest with you, I don't want to do law again. I have done law. I don't want to do law again whilst in office, whilst in power. No. So the area of law, I wasn't even interested in Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, those things. I don't want them. I just didn't want to do law again. So any other place will be fine.
Any other place. Yeah. Are you happy at the authority?
Oh, yes. Because I have noticed that as a sleeping giant, we can do a lot of things. So, for instance, we are beginning to look at how to take some revenue from transport operators, and that will come to us directly as income. So when we are able to do this, the authority will be a good place. Let me tell you something. Local government, the Ministry of Local Government was not an attractive place until we had somebody like Professor Ahoy take the place. For instance, DVLA was not an attractive place until we had somebody like GHOne. So my belief is that I will make National Road Safety Authority a place that people will want to work. And that is the trajectory I've taken. And I'm sure at the end of the day, people will begin to see the National Road Safety as one of the best institutions in the country.
All right. Let's talk about the Okada riders now. I want us to quickly run through the amendments that you want to make to the LI on road traffic regulations, which will include that of the Okada riders. So on Okada commercialization, for 2-wheel, 3-wheel, 4-wheel, I guess that the 3-wheel is for Pragya. And then the 4-wheel will be for the ones that transport like those pure waters, sachet waters and all that. Okay, so so for one to qualify or ride Okada commercially, the person must undergo training and be assigned a unique yellow license plate, must wear a certified uniform and protective helmet, must provide a helmet for passengers, must obey all traffic laws and speed regulations, must be at least 25 years old, possess a valid national ID, have a commercial rider's license issued by the DVLA, must pass a proficiency test including oral theory in traffic and eye exams, and must be registered with the, okay, so you also add that a person must belong to a union or association, and that union or association must be registered with the Registrar General, must have a constitution and code of conduct, must be licensed by the DVLA. Mr. Amaliba, I get it that we already have people riding Okada, but as Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, I'm sure that you have seen the staggering number of road crashes and the role that Okada riders play in it. Why do you still want to legalize it? Is it just because it's a campaign promise?
The spate of accidents related to Okada is because it is not legalized. Now, because it is an illegal activity, institutions such as ours, National Road Safety Authority, DVLA, and other state institutions cannot deal with them. So I cannot even meet Okada riders and say, I want to provide road safety education for them. I cannot meet them and say, I want to provide road sensitization for them, because I will be dealing with an illegality. But when they are legal, now my institution can meet them and tell them, this is the way we ride. And you see, when you look at the laws tell you that what we are doing is supposed to protect and ensure that the Okada rider is safe. One, they will be given protective gear to wear. So, for instance, there will be reflectors. That's one. The helmet they are wearing will prescribe a certain quality helmet for them. When you look at some of them, they wear baseball caps as helmets. Some of them. Some of them even wear calabashes and paint the calabash as helmet. So we'll give them protective gear. Then we say they should be in a union because we don't want to be dealing with individual riders. So the union would take care of them. The union too would provide them with road safety education, driver education, sensitization. That union is to self-regulate. So the union themselves will say that, look, when you are riding, make sure that you put on your helmet. We were sent to Rwanda to understudy the Rwanda situation because we are told that in the whole world it's Rwanda and Dubai that has the best Okada system. So we went to Rwanda, sister African country. We noticed that everybody who was riding Okada had 2 helmets. One for the pylon rider and the other one for himself. Now you ladies, when we were in Rwanda, I asked my colleagues we went with the president of Okada, president of the Tricycle Association. I said, have you seen any lady on a Okada here who is not in the helmet? That, no. Everybody's in the helmet. I said, fine. In Ghana, the ladies will say that they are wearing Brazilian hair, they are wearing Nigerian hair, so they will not put on Okada. They will not put on the helmet. Most of them don't put on a helmet. So what we have done here is that we say that if you are a frequent Okada user, you can own your own helmet. Are you listening to me?
Yes.
You can own your own helmet. Because we notice also that the Okada drivers too don't keep the helmets neat. So it is right for you, the ladies, say you won't put it on your head because it will dirty your hair. So you can own your own helmet. You come to the office, you put it down. When you are going, you take it, you stop the Okada, you wear your helmet, and you are gone. So we are doing all this because we know that currently the spate of crashes is on the ascendancy. But with these laws, and then also with our training in safety, our training in driving or riding, it will reduce drastically. See, most people don't know why the Okada rider jumps traffic lights.
Why do they?
People think that it is because they are in a hurry to go. No. Because it was illegal when they first started and police was chasing them all over. Most of the places they were arrested was at traffic lights. The policeman would just walk, because he had stopped. The policeman would just walk and pick the key. So they now also resorted to saying that we won't even stop at all. So it was to avoid police arrest. That's why they were doing that. But now, if it becomes legal, they have no business at all, because no police will arrest you. So these things will all change. The Okada you see today is not going to be the Okada that will be in place if it's legalized. It will change.
Okay, let's talk about some of the requirements. I'm sure that you have seen the riders, heard the riders agitate. They are livid over the age limitation. What's your plan for that?
It's lack of explanation to them. We have what is called the Road Traffic Act. And the Road Traffic Act says that if you are 18 years, you can acquire a license to drive or ride. But if you want to drive or ride for commercial purposes, you must be 25. I'll repeat it. If you are 18, you can acquire a license to drive your father's car. You can drive private if you are 18. But now if you want to graduate into driving for commercial purposes, you must be 25. That's what the law says. Now, in drafting or in reviewing the Okada law, we cannot put it there that, because this one is you are a law student, this one is a legislative instrument. What we are reviewing is an LI.
Right.
But there's an act. The act is what is saying 25 years. Your LI cannot be in contravention of your act. So we are constrained. Even at the committee stage, we put it at 18 in the Okada law. It was later that when I went back home, I sat down and said, no. What we are doing in the Okada law is against the act. Then I called the man who is in charge of drafting it, to change it to 25. So we ourselves, in our intendment, we want it to be 18. Because if we didn't want it to be 18, why would we put it there as 18 only to change it? So we intend to bring the law down by amending the act.
The act itself. When do you intend to do that?
Because the act, amending an act is more cumbersome than an LI, we think that let's legalize it first, and then we can take our time and then deal with the act. So,
but what will they have to hold you for if you amend the LI, which sets the age limit at 25?
But at least now they can ride freely. Now they can receive trading from us. Now they can have a proper helmet. Now, so all those things will be done. It is only the age which will now be the problem. And I know that before we took over the reins of government, there was a committee that was dealing with the act. I'm sure we'll reactivate it. I'll talk to my minister, and then we'll reactivate it, and then we'll continue doing it.
So when it is legalized, when the LI is amended, persons below 25, I beg your pardon, can ride the Okada commercially, or they have to wait for you to amend the act?
Well, it will be illegal. It will be illegal.
So they have to wait?
They have
and
to.
how long? What is the time limit that you have set?
Even though...
Mr. Amaliba, please, this is very important. What's the time limit you've set to be able to amend the act to reduce the age to the 18 that you talk about?
That's what I'm saying, that for now, our committee, our mandate is to deal with the LI. Our committee's mandate is not to deal with the act. However, I am aware there was a committee that was in place dealing with the act. I will talk to my minister to activate that committee. But the good thing about the whole of this exercise is that NDC has majority in parliament. This is a campaign promise. It will go there and it will quickly be amended. It will not take time for us to amend that provision. I can't give you timelines because I'm not in parliament and I'm not the minister. But I will push for that provision to be changed. At worst, 21, but at most, 18 years.
Okay, we spoke to some Okada riders. I want you to listen to some of the concerns and the things that they said so you can respond to it. Okay, I think it is not ready. I have to apologize for that. But the question that, and when it's ready, I'll play it for you. The question that a lot of people have also been asking since this, conversations about amending the LI for Okada riders came up is we have very beautiful laws most of the time. You are a lawyer, but complying with them has always been a challenge for us. How sure are you that you'll be able to regulate this Okada business so well that you achieve all the things that you're talking about?
When we were in Rwanda, what they told us was that what has made Okada successful in Rwanda is enforcement of the laws. Now, in Rwanda, the police are strict on the enforcement of the laws. In Rwanda, there are cameras. There are cameras on the streets that would identify an Okada rider who is misbehaving on the street. So we are doing all this in tandem with the police. There are 4 agencies that are dealing with this matter. The regulatory authority, which is the Road Safety Authority, the licensing authority, which is the DVLA, the local government authority, then the enforcement authority, which is the police. The police, for this exercise to be successful, the police must be ready to enforce the law to the letter. So in all the exercise we are doing, in all the reviews, the police is involved. Good for us is that we are also going to introduce, if this law is passed, if the LI is passed, we are also going to introduce spot fines, on the spot fines. We have what is called traffic tech. So when you jump traffic, I think they've even piloted it. You just see a beep on your phone.
Ticketing,
Tickets,
sort of?
yes. Like,
And you do that for Okada riders too?
yes. So that is also there. Now, with the Okada riders, we are also going to fix their motorbikes with speed governance. We also know that they overspeed. The Okada people, when you see them on the road, they overspeed. So we are also going to fix those things on them. So enforcement is what will make it successful. The police must be ready to change their ways. If they don't change their ways, it's not going to be successful. So the only way, after all these beautiful laws, the only way is for the enforcement to take place.
And we have a problem with that. So what is your plan beyond telling the police to change their ways?
We are too much skeptical. You think that it's not going to be successful. Why don't you have an open mind to say that?
You mean me?
You.
No.
So why don't you have an open mind to say that, okay, it will be successful? Then if we begin to see that it's not successful, because I have told you that all the personnel who are involved in this are determined to ensure its success. But if you keep asking me, the police, I'm
You
not in
just
their,
said that the
I'm not in
police
their
must
mind.
be ready to change their ways.
Yes, so that's what we'll be telling them. That's what we are working
So
with the
the success of
MTTD
all of this is dependent on
on
the
the
police.
enforcement, because these are beautiful laws. You agree, but enforcement is the problem. You have said it, and I'm saying that there's going to be a reorientation of the police mind, because for this thing to succeed, the police must have a new set of mind for this thing to succeed, and we are ready to deal with them on it. So give us a chance. Huh? Give us a chance.
Okay.
What's your problem? You don't think that we will succeed?
No, I actually want it to succeed, because if it doesn't succeed, if we are not able to regulate this properly, I don't see how we are going to help the road situations, the crashes situations, which you have said is a national security problem.
Yeah.
You know, away from the Okada business, moving away from it very, very, very lightly, the issue of road accidents caused by cars, what is your plan, you know, to fix that as well? Because I have seen the statistics from the National Road Safety Authority. I don't know what your figures are. Maybe it could be different from mine. But when you, what's the figure that you have from road crashes or deaths that happened in 2024?
No, it's way too high. We are above the international acceptable levels of crashes. We are an outlier. In Ghana, you are more likely to die out of road crashes than die out of your own sickness. So we admit. Now, what are we doing? I received a letter from National Security last week, and quickly I convened a meeting of all road sector players, that is the operators. I convened that meeting at Irata Hotel. I don't know, your cameras were not there, or they were there.
We were there.
And I told them in the face that if we do not find solutions to the accidents in this country, that door will not open for all of us to go out. At the end of the day, they came up with very good suggestions. For instance, there's a suggestion that intercity transport, when you are traveling from Accra to Wa, Accra to Tamale, it shouldn't be one driver. And it is wrong to put two drivers in the bus and then the two drivers are driving to the destination. What we can do is one driver starts from Accra and then another driver is waiting for the driver in Kintampo. The two drivers don't start the journey together. One driver starts from Accra, one other driver is in Kintampo waiting. By the time this guy is driving, this other driver is sleeping. So when you get to Kintampo, this driver comes down of the bus and the new driver takes over. It is wrong to put the two drivers together, because even sitting in the bus alone as a spare driver, you get tired. So that suggestion came. Another suggestion came, like what I told you, is to put speed governors in the vehicles so they don't overspeed. in Rwanda is like that. No bus. There's no bus plying their roads without speed governors. So I've tasked my officers to draft a solution and we send it to the national security. Then we can apply those things. I am determined that under my stewardship, road accidents will reduce in this country.
So this speed, what do you call
governors
it again?
or speed limiters.
Speed limiters. Will it be at a cost to the drivers or to the states?
No, once you have your vehicle, it is your responsibility to acquire that thing. Else
Okay.
will not renew your license
right.
at DVLA. That's what the law says.
So these are the two suggestions that you have.
Prominently, two. The accidents are way too many, and it is giving Ghana a bad name. And I think that we need to curb it.
Okay. You know, I'll bring you back here for a very prolonged conversation on the authority. That is if you are not sent to another place. But I have always, and every time you've come here, is to discuss other national issues. And so I want to quickly pick your thoughts, because I have to go, on what's currently happening with the Reverend Intim Fojo and the allegations that he has made, and the failed Rambo-style arrest attempt that was made at his private residence.
Well, my first issue has to do with his inability to provide us with the evidence till now. Because when others were engaged in such exercises, they were ready to provide evidence. And I'm talking about the Okujetos. But Reverend Intim, up to this day, has not been able to provide us with evidence. He has been invited to meet, because the president indicated that his concerns will be taken care of, and so he should meet the national security. He has not been able to meet them as well. But I think that for the arrests, Serwaa, you have been here. Aren't we going merry-go-round? It appears that when you are in opposition, you cry loud that state securities are. But we have seen that under the attempt to, there were a lot of such arrests of our members of parliament. Is it now time, after he has been arrested, is it now time for the MPP and NDC to come together and say that let's not use the security in this way? Because when we were in opposition, I remember Sam George was slapped. I remember, what is his name? I remember Nina Tevanapa was carried into a pickup. So what is different now?
So because it was done then, it should be done now?
And I'm saying that because both of us have tasted it, it's now time for us to come to the round table and say that let's not use the police that way. Then we'll all chart a good path. But it is still incumbent upon the MP to meet the security agencies. They are looking for him, and then he can provide the evidence. That one, I will not run away from it, because he needs to provide evidence.
Okay. Where are we with the removal of the Chief Justice? Because there's a certain impression that the NDC is hell-bent on removing the Chief Justice, and even by extension, the EC chair.
Oh, when Akufo-Addo removed Charlotte Osei, was he hell-bent? The Constitution allows citizens to participate in governance. The Constitution allows citizens to participate in governance. So the Constitution says that you can bring a petition for the removal of any of these officers. So Mr. President is in his office, then somebody brings a petition. He can't say he can't act on it. The petition must meet a certain threshold. To be able to remove the chief judge, you must show two things. There are actually three, but the third one we all know is not available. The first one is incompetence and stated misbehavior. The third one, which is incapacity, we all know the woman walks about, so she's not. So if the petition holds, the petition is able to prove the two, Mr. President cannot say he's going to do what he's going to do. This same president presided over the removal of Loretta Lamte of Shiraj. You know that. He couldn't do anything. That was his appointee, but he couldn't still stop it. That was his own appointee, but he couldn't stop it. So you may have to ask citizens to stop sending petitions. Then we'll say that that is fine.
But is the NDC hell-bent on changing here, removing here? Because even before the elections, we had heard many comments from members of the NDC that the Chief Justice must go, the EC chair must go.
The NDC may want to do something, but if what it is going to do is illegal, they can't do it. At the moment, citizens have petitioned the president. So that is how you should look at it. The NDC cannot say that we want to remove somebody, and the next day they can remove the person. It must follow due process. So if due process is being followed, I have no problem. But it is only when the NDC in government decides to do things illegally, then from that score, I'll be with you and I'll say that this is wrong. But once our laws allow for what is happening, Serwaa, who is you and I to say it's wrong?
Mr. Amaliba, thank you very much for coming. I'll see you again soon to talk more about the authority. Mr. Abraham Amaliba Esquire is a private legal practitioner, and he's also the acting director at the National Road Safety Authority. Before